Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? You know, this happens almost all the time. I'll make a video explaining to you guys what a person was insinuating in an interview that he did previously, right? Because he's not coming out and saying it. Like, for example, like I told you guys before, there was a time when Nacho did not want his fighter, Marquez, to fight against Tim Bradley. They were ducking Tim Bradley. In fact, Bradley had been calling out Marquez for about 3 years. After Bradley beat Manny Pacquiao, Marquez, he had no interest in fighting Tim Bradley. Nacho Beristain, he was coming out with ridiculous statements saying that Bradley is a stinking fighter and nobody wants to watch that fight, and we want to fight some tough guy that the Mexican fans would be happy to see us fight, etc. He was saying all of this ridiculous stuff that he knew didn't make sense, even though Tim Bradley was voted Fight of the Year against Ruslan Provodnikov, which shatters every single thing that Nacho Beristain said. But anyway, so they're saying all of these things, and I'm telling you guys, I'm deciphering the message. I'm telling you guys, I made about 2 or 3 videos about this. I said they don't want to fight Bradley because they understand how difficult that fight is. They understand that Bradley knows how to box. They understand that Bradley would be more difficult than a Manny Pacquiao fight. I said all of this stuff. And what happens? The truth comes out, just like I said it. Marquez later on, once Bradley has a tough fight with Provodnikov, all of a sudden Manny Pacquiao and Marquez, they decide, oh, you know what, we change our mind. We both want to fight him. Matter of fact, now they both playing tug of war over Tim Bradley, right? They both want to get him in the ring first, offering him more money and everything, okay? And then all of a sudden, Marquez, he gets the fight, and now since Marquez has the fight, the truth comes out. Everything that I was saying before, it comes out. All those ignorant-ass Marquez fans who got upset because I was telling the truth, and they didn't want to hear the truth, they start playing the race card because they were upset that they were hearing the truth. Marquez will come out and completely corroborate every single thing that I had said previously. He said it word for word. Talked about why Bradley is going to be more difficult than a Manny Pacquiao fight. Broke it down in detail. He said it almost word for word the exact same way that I said it, okay? This has happened many a times, and now we find out that Freddie Roach is also corroborating with me. We find out that he basically has the same assessment that I have when it comes to what he thinks about Tim Bradley. This is what Freddie Roach just said today. Freddie Roach, he said that Marquez would have been Manny Pacquiao's best opponent, but Marquez doesn't want a 5th fight. Then he goes on to say Tim Bradley is going to be a very difficult fight because he boxes so well. I thought Tim Bradley beat Marquez decisively. End quote. You see what I mean? And this is not new news. This is just a new admission. Okay? Like I said, if you know boxing and you're not biased and ignorant, you knew this all along. I told you guys on multiple previous videos. Now, since Manny Pacquiao seen what Bradley did to Marquez, Manny Pacquiao and Team Pacquiao, they are far more hesitant to take that fight. And that little clip that I just read of Freddie Roach, that's exactly what he was saying. He said Bradley is going to be very difficult. He knows how to box. Then, coincidentally, he brought up Marquez. He beat Marquez very decisively. That's what it's telling you. It's telling you what I've been saying all along. That when they watch that Marquez fight, they like, oh, this dude ain't washed up. No. You know, Roach and Team Pacquiao, they told Manny, they said, wait a minute, Manny. This is not the Bradley that fought against Provodnikov. This is the Bradley who beat us the first time. So, you know, we're going to have to watch this guy. Like I said, guys, you could sit over here and you could say that Manny Pacquiao won the first fight. If you want to say that, that's fine. It was a very close fight. It doesn't really matter to me. The bottom line is, and the fact is, what Freddie Roach just said right now, this further proves why Manny Pacquiao and Team Manny Pacquiao, they decided to avoid a rematch right away with Tim Bradley. This is why they did it. They did it because they were concerned. They did it because they knew how well he boxed. You know, I told you guys a long time ago on an old video that I had a Filipino guy come over to my house from the Geek Squad, and you know he was replacing my TV, and you know he's seen the trophies in the house, and we started talking about boxing. This was a couple months after Pacquiao lost to Bradley. And, you know, the guy, I asked him, I said, so, hey, and, you know, well, before I even say that, it's funny because I had met some random Filipino lady, and a couple of Filipino ladies that I met. It's funny because every time I talk to a Filipino lady, she would always tell me, she would be like, I don't understand why Manny Pacquiao won't fight Tim Bradley in a rematch. I think he's worried that he's going to lose. You know, the ladies would always tell me this. It would only be the men who would, you know, basically say the typical casual fan type stuff and defend Manny Pacquiao. You know, so back to the Geek Squad guy. So the Geek Squad guy, like I said, he came over. I asked him, I was like, you know, how come Manny Pacquiao won't fight Tim Bradley to get his title back in a rematch? And he jumped on that casual fan bus right away. And he was always because everyone knew he won. Everyone knew he won, and et cetera, et cetera. And no one's going to watch that fight. No one's going to watch that fight. And I started breaking it down. I started hitting him with some science. And, you know, he had his eyes was wide open, and he was like shaking his head like, that makes total sense. That makes complete sense. You know, I was just telling him all the basic stuff you guys hear me say on my video. And he was like, wow, I never even thought about that. That made sense. That makes a lot of sense. All of a sudden, the truth started coming out. And you know what he said to me? He said, you know what? And that Bradley guy, man, he was really tough. He was really tough. I mean, you know, Manny Pacquiao couldn't knock him out. He kept coming forward. He still had a lot of energy in the last rounds. You know, he has a lot of head movement. All of a sudden, the truth started coming out. The hypnosis had wore off, and he was no longer just using this same soundbite that, you know, has been passed on from fan to fan, because basically that's what happens, you know. When you see your favorite fighter lose, you're hurt, you're crushed. You don't want to believe that your favorite fighter is no longer the best. So you look for some excuse. You look for all different type of excuses to make you feel better. And then, you know, you talk to your friends, you guys congregate, and you guys come up with all different type of excuses and say, yeah, that's the reason why he lost. That's the reason why he lost. And then you feel better, and you start believing it. And even though you know deep down it's not true, you start to force yourself to believe it, right? Until someone else like me comes along, and then I start breaking down science and math, and then you start saying, oh, man, you're right. That's the, you know, between you and me, Dante, that is the truth, okay? And that's what basically happened. And that is exactly what happened today when Freddie Roach, he made this admission. He's admitting this is the reason why Manny Pacquiao does not want to fight Tim Bradley. And then he also said he prefers anyone over Tim Bradley. See, a couple weeks ago, or a week ago or something like that, Freddie Roach, he was playing that, you know, hypnosis type game. You know, just say something else to throw people off from the truth. He said about a week ago that, you know, Bradley, you know, we don't want that fight. Bradley is a stinking fighter or whatever. But then he realized that he made himself sound stupid because Bradley was just voted fight of the year, which is you know, quite the contrary when it comes to being a stinking fighter. Bradley is a warrior. We all know that. Bradley, he comes in, he charges after you. You know, he has an ambush style. He can box, fight you toe-to-toe. You know, the man is a warrior if you look at all of his fights. And Freddie Roach understood this, and this is why the truth came out today. And like I said once again, the truth is, just like Freddie Roach put it, that Tim Bradley is a very difficult opponent. Tim Bradley boxes very well. You're talking about a Tim Bradley with both of his ankles. Doesn't have any broken ankles. Okay? So that causes problems for Manny Pacquiao and Team Pacquiao. Let me tell you something. For me, Freddie Roach is one of the most easiest people to decipher because he has made so many admissions previously before that I know what he's thinking when it comes to people like Tim Bradley and even Ruslan Provodnikov. I know what he's thinking. I know right now Freddie Roach is thinking as a coach. He's thinking, wait a minute. So we had this guy on injured legs or ankles. Bradley was crippled throughout the fight. If we listen to the fans, Bradley didn't have that much power And Manny Pacquiao still couldn't knock him out. And not only that, but Manny Pacquiao started to slow down the stretch. Freddie Roach is analyzing all of this, and he's looking at it, and he says, this equals difficult rematch. And then on top of that, you see what Bradley does to Marquez after Pacquiao gets knocked out by Marquez. Freddie Roach is looking at all of this. And he's saying, we are going to have a difficult time against this guy. Freddie Roach, he made another admission a week or two ago in an interview talking about the Bradley-Pacquiao fight. Freddie Roach, he said that the fight was extremely close. He said it was a close fight, and Tim Bradley got the decision. He said even though it was a little controversial, but the key word is, he said that the fight was really close. All right? You know what that means, guys? If a fight is really close, that means it wasn't a robbery. This is the reason why every time I talk about the fight, I tell you guys, if you guys want to say you thought Pacquiao won the fight, that's fine. If you want to say Bradley won the fight, that's fine. The fight was extremely close. The referee, he said the fight was extremely close. Brian Kennedy from ESPN, or Brian Kenny, formerly from ESPN, he said that he thought Bradley won the fight. The majority of people thought that Pacquiao won the fight. But at the end of the day, the fight was extremely close. And Freddie Roach himself, he admits that. And the truth is, anytime you have a close fight with an iconic figure that the majority of the fans love, and he's against a guy who is supposed to lose and that the fans don't like, and are basically just saying, I don't care who beats Manny Pacquiao, just don't let this guy beat Manny Pacquiao. Anytime there's a situation like this, people are going to consider that fight a robbery, even though the fight is close. People are upset about the decision mainly because what it means in the future, mainly because what it suggests. It suggests that Manny Pacquiao may have never been as good as Floyd Mayweather. This is how a lot of fans are looking at it. It suggests that since Manny Pacquiao lost, this means that we probably will never get a Manny Pacquiao-Mayweather fight. This is another reason why people were so upset with the Pacquiao-Bradley decision. And then when Manny Pacquiao got knocked out by Marquez, this is when the casual fans pretty much abandoned Manny Pacquiao. A lot of the American fans and people who don't really watch boxing a whole lot, they abandoned him because a lot of people, they were only looking at him because in the first place because they thought this was going to be the guy to beat Floyd Mayweather. But once they seen him get knocked out by a guy that Floyd Mayweather just played with and beat easy, like he was just in a sparring match, after 4 tries, Pacquiao couldn't beat this guy decisively. That's when a lot of casual fans realized this is not the guy that's going to beat Mayweather, and they abandoned him, and they stopped watching him. And this is the reason why Manny Pacquiao's pay-per-view numbers were so low against Brandon Rios. The only people that were really watching Manny Pacquiao were diehard fans and, Filipino Manny Pacquiao fans, of course. A lot of people across diehard fans, basically. So back to the main topic of this video. So Freddie Roach, he admits that Tim Bradley is going to be very difficult because he boxes so well, because what he just did to Marquez. This is what Freddie Roach said out of his own mouth. I told you guys before, way before this, that Manny Pacquiao is in a tough situation. He's in a tough position right now, having to pick between Provodnikov and Bradley. I told you, he may possibly lose to both of these guys. It's just really sad. This is getting closer and closer to the end for Manny Pacquiao. The truth always comes out. Everyone was saying that Bradley was a bum. He was weak. He had no power. He's this and he's garbage, etc., etc. Now the truth comes out. Now Tim Bradley is pound for pound, top 4, one of the best fighters in the world. And Freddie Roach is saying that's a difficult fight. Boy, it's funny how things come full circle, huh? I guess I'll go ahead and end this video. I'm on to the next one, guys.